Free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last. These powerful words, ringing out from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, have echoed through the annals of history, capturing the hearts and minds of millions. What made Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech so impactful? How did this speech, delivered on a sweltering summer day in 1963, change the course of American history and the fight for civil rights? Today, we embark on a journey to uncover the answers to these questions and more, delving deep into the legacy of one of the most iconic speeches ever delivered. Before we dive into the heart of the speech, let's set the stage. The early 1960s were a tumultuous time in America. The civil rights movement was gaining momentum, driven by the tireless efforts of activists who fought against the systemic racism and segregation that plagued the nation. African Americans were facing disenfranchisement, economic inequality, and brutal violence. This is where Martin Luther King Jr., a young minister with a powerful voice and an unwavering commitment to justice, stepped onto the national stage. His eloquence and passion would soon captivate the world. On August 28, 1963, during the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, King delivered a speech that would forever change the landscape of the American civil rights movement. The early 1960s were a time of stark racial inequality. Despite the landmark Brown v. Board of Education Supreme Court ruling in 1954, segregation persisted. African Americans faced systemic barriers to economic advancement, limited job opportunities, and voter suppression tactics that disenfranchised many. The struggle for civil rights was marked by pivotal events like the Greensboro sit-ins of 1960 and the Freedom Rides of 1961. In 1963, the Birmingham campaign drew national attention when peaceful protesters faced brutal repression, highlighting the urgent need for change. Martin Luther King Jr. emerged as a central figure in the civil rights movement due to his compelling oratory skills and unwavering commitment to nonviolent resistance. His leadership in the Montgomery bus boycott of 1955 to 1956 propelled him to national prominence and unified the movement. The idea for a massive demonstration in Washington, D.C. had been proposed by civil rights leaders, including A. Philip Randolph and Bayard Rustin years before. However, the urgency of the moment and the need to push for comprehensive civil rights legislation led to the realization of this vision in 1963. The March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, held on August 28, 1963, required meticulous planning. Leaders like A. Philip Randolph and Bayard Rustin organized the event, mobilizing supporters from across the country. The march attracted a diverse array of participants, including civil rights leaders, activists, and celebrities. Over 250,000 people gathered on the National Mall, making it one of the largest demonstrations in American history. The atmosphere on the day of the march was electric, filled with a sense of purpose and unity. The peaceful and orderly conduct of the march has contrasted sharply with the violent resistance to civil rights in the South, helping to shift public opinion in favor of the movement. As the day progressed, anticipation built for the final speech of the event, to be delivered by Martin Luther King Jr. His address was the climax of the day and would soon become one of the most iconic moments in American history. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered a speech that would become a defining moment in the civil rights movement and American history. His "I Have a Dream" speech is renowned for its profound rhetoric, vivid imagery, and powerful call for justice and equality. King's speech is masterfully structured, blending a variety of rhetorical techniques. The speech can be divided into two main parts: addressing the harsh realities of racial injustice and envisioning a future of racial harmony and equality. Opening and exposition. King begins with a reference to the Emancipation Proclamation and highlights the persistent injustice faced by African Americans. Grievances and urgency. He lists the various forms of systemic racism and segregation, emphasizing the fierce urgency of now. Dream of equality. The famous "I Have a Dream" section envisions a future where people are judged by their character rather than their race. Closing and call to action. King concludes with a call for continued struggle and solidarity, invoking the patriotic hymn, "My Country, 'Tis of Thee." "I Have a Dream" refrain. Each iteration introduces a different aspect of the ideal world King envisions. Let Freedom Ring. King's call to "Let Freedom Ring" serves as a unifying anthem. The content of their character. This phrase succinctly captures the essence of King's vision for a just society. The immediate reaction to King's speech was overwhelmingly positive. Newspapers, radio, and television broadcasted King's words to a wide audience, recognizing the historical significance of the moment. The speech helped to galvanize public opinion and generate widespread support for the civil rights movement's goals. It influenced the passage of landmark civil rights legislation, including the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. The speech's influence extends far beyond the immediate legislative victories of the 1960s. It has become a symbol of the broader struggle for human rights and justice, inspiring new generations of activists and movements around the world. King is remembered as a global icon of justice, peace, and nonviolent resistance. His speech is frequently referenced in educational curricula, public speeches, and cultural works, ensuring that its message remains relevant and accessible. The speech is widely taught in schools and universities, serving as a key text in understanding American history and the civil rights movement. It has been referenced and echoed in countless songs, films, books, and art pieces. The enduring relevance of the "I Have a Dream" speech lies in its universal message. It challenges us to reflect on our roles in creating a more equitable world and to continue the work of those who came before us. Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech stands as one of the most pivotal moments in the history of the civil rights movement and American oratory. Delivered during the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, this speech not only encapsulated the struggles and aspirations of African Americans in the 1960s, but also articulated a vision of a just and equitable society that continues to inspire people around the world. King's dream was not just a vision for African Americans, but for all humanity. It was a call for a world where freedom and justice are available to everyone, where the barriers of racial prejudice and discrimination are dismantled, and where people are judged by the content of their character. This vision remains as relevant today as it was over half a century ago. The speech's enduring power lies in its ability to speak to our deepest hopes and dreams for a better future. It challenges us to reflect on our own roles in creating a more equitable world and to continue the work of those who came before us. King's dream is a reminder that progress is possible, but it requires courage, perseverance, and collective action. Let's honor Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy by continuing to advocate for equality, justice, and human dignity. Reflect on your own dreams and consider how you can contribute to making the world a better place. Share this video with others to spread the message of King's enduring vision. If you found this video inspiring, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more content on history and social justice. Together, we can keep the dream alive and work towards a future where freedom and equality prevail for all.